one of the interesting things about the space of DEI is that oftentimes in organizations, we feel like it's the DEI team or the one DEI person to transform the entire culture of an organization as it relates to diversity, equity, and inclusion. And that will not lead to a sustainable cultural shift. So each and every one of us has a role to play in our own spheres of influence about DEI. And it doesn't have to be a huge role. It could be asking a question, and being brave enough to ask a question. Sometimes in spaces, we're self conscious and don't want to ask a question because we don't want to be judged. So be brave, ask a question, because more times than not, other folks will have the same question. Understand your own unique magic. And when you understand your own unique magic, you will understand how to connect that magic to creating a much more inclusive and sense of belonging for your entire workforce. It's a really beautiful and empowering thing to know that no matter your role, you can make a huge impact in the space of DEI. Leaders have so much going on today as we kind of emerge. I'm thinking emerge in quotes from this pandemic, the great resignation, economic changes. There's so much going on. And sometimes leaders feel like, oh my God, how am I going to add another thing to my plate? Or how am I going to add another thing to my team's plate? And I think of DEI as not of adding more to your plate, but really more about how are you integrating the practices of DNI in terms of how you lead every day. So there are certain things that each one of us as leaders can do to help create those brave spaces for inclusion and belonging to happen. One of those things is to be aware of the vibe that you're bringing into the room. If I'm kind of feeling stressed because who knows what's going on in the background of my life, that vibe and energy will translate to the team and the space that you're in. So be aware of the vibe that you're coming in. Be okay with getting pushed a little bit. So, and what I mean is that um, being a leader doesn't mean that you have all the answers, nor should it. It means that we can have a lot of questions, and we are allowing, I don't actually like that word, we are creating space for our workforce to actually push back on us, push back to what we're saying, to create a space of co-learning and co-creation. Sometimes when we have this leader has all of the answer, we're trying to be the hero in a certain space rather than being a host for co-creation, innovation, and doing things effectively with the team. And then also, leaders can create a sense of belonging. Ultimately, people just want to be seen and heard. I know that there's a lot of fear in approaching DEI because what if someone has an opposing view? And guess what? Someone is going to have an opposing view. And there's also fear about what if I make a mistake? Guess what? You are going to make a mistake. And when you as a leader can admit, like, this makes me a little bit uncomfortable too because I'm nervous about making the mistake, that gives other people the freedom to feel a sense of, oh, the leaders that have all the answers, maybe it's okay if I speak up and it's not quite perfect. Maybe if it's okay, if I have an opposing point of view. If I have an opposing point of view, that leader will still be able to see me and hear me without shutting me down. And then the other thing that leaders can do to create a sense of belonging, learning, and change is really connecting with each other's humanity. And I know that sounds so cheesy, but so often in organizations, and quite frankly, not just in the corporate space, but in nonprofit, in government, and a lot of organizations, we see each other as human doings instead of human beings. So, how can we see past the human doing and actually connect with each other on a human being level, person to person? And when you do that, people do feel seen and heard. People do feel a sense of belonging, and it creates a type of small cultural shift on your team that can have ripple impacts in a lot of other places.